part of our most important intention has been to bring more awareness and collaborative cognitive capacity to the work that our groups are doing for Radio Stream 0 and Radio Stream 1, with all of these various recent and upcoming broadcasts. So I've been able to get a number of things published to our main platforms, and there are groups constantly working around every one of these projects, where sometimes I'm the only one who is apparently showing up. We do a lot of work to protect the participation of intuitive invisibles. And if you are someone who wants to participate in projects but doesn't know how to do so in a way that fully protects your privacy and your safety in regards to your identity, needing to be involved in a community that really respects broad variety of circumstances having to do with those things, you can contact me, Max Morris, on Telegram Messenger, MaxMorris. You can email me at max@intuitive.pub. We have not found these resources anywhere else, and this has been a crucial means of neurological repair. We have to be able to interact safely in social circumstances, and most places survivors cannot do that. So we have to create spaces in all of our communities, create awareness in all of our communities, so that those who are excluded and who are then commoditized from invisibility, with none of us aware of this, that is creating most of our hardship and conflict. If you are having a hard time, look for the intuitive invisibles who are already in your environments. Look for the people who are most severely affected, most severely disabled, and build relationships with them. Learn their languages, learn how to be most respectful to them and honorable in relationship with them. This is massively protective against any other kind of stressor or trauma, because most of the stressors and traumas that we're all navigating happen because we have been intentionally separated from being in relationship with those who are most severely affected, who will not be severely affected as soon as they are part of inclusive relationships in community awareness. It changes the entire map of the way that we interact with one another and the elements in our environments, what things overstress our bodies, what things we just can't handle anymore of. Are we able to think with clarity? Is it painful to use our functions? Do we really just wish there was a safe place for us to be and relax and experience kindness from other living beings and build things together that are needed? Radio Stream 0 has been broadcasting since, and I think we have this set up so that I can read through this, like it will be okay, but I couldn't do this before, so it's very exciting. Let's see. So April 19th was our schedule update, and April 23rd was the Saturday, which was all recent tracks in chronological order. I actually am not totally sure that I checked that. I wonder if that worked out that way. I did put down the date. Maybe it haven't. In any case, for 6 days out of 7, what we have on our schedule has been really helping us a great deal. A lot of it is my broadcasts where I'm bringing back various conversations from various group activities so that they can be more in public awareness, so that more people can have invitations to discuss and process and collaborate in public and then also in private. The more we find one another by having a public presence and public activities, the more opportunities we have to build private resourcing that protects our public spaces, that protects all of our community members, whether or not they are part of our public spaces. Most of what we have in the recent updates for Radio Stream Zero, which you can find, the clicking through is a little bit challenging, and we're working on that. Oh, am I on the right one? Oh, this is the archive, I see. intuitive.pub/radiostream/0. There's also a page, intuitive.pub/radiostreams, plural, that has all of the links on it. Let's check to make sure that that's actually true. I think it is. Radio streams. There it is. Visit the Intuitive Public Radio Stream 0 on internet radio. It's the middle link. It's the internet-radio.com/station/intuitive link. And then right below it, there's a to browse the Radio Stream 0 schedule. Click here. And if you click that link, then it will take you to the schedule in Google Documents. We're going to make that less convoluted over time, gradually, in increments. We're trying to update this page. There's a big piece of text at the top of that page. It says, click here to view today's updates in the top right. And if you click that, then we have another Google document where we're trying to update the updates of our other Google documents, which looks like it was successful here. That's great. I'm pretty sure when we broadcast to Radio Stream 1, it's taking all of our available physical capacity. So this Radio Stream 1 is not updated. We're still working on that. That's still really coming online. But Radio Stream 0 has been a lot more reliable. So if you click on the link to the schedule for the Google document for Radio Stream 0, what we've been reviewing the most, and what will be updated again soon, is the materials from Planet Waves Public Broadcasting, which they have graciously permitted us to work with in public in the ways that are needed to ensure disability recovery aid access. If you are producing something in public and you want it to reach as many people as possible, do you content yourself with not being able to reach the people who are most severely affected by violence and who would most profoundly and immediately benefit from being in contact with your content? No, you want to make sure that they can access it. And that's what Eric Francis Coppolino has done by being in the beginnings of these relationship building conversations with us, where most other content creators don't necessarily recognize this conversation. So we're really grateful that Eric recognizes enough of it for us to have made this progress. We have been running Eric's Planet Waves FM releases as closely as we can to his schedule, because when we stay close to his recent broadcasts, we are building a lot of neurological facility in being able to communicate about things we couldn't communicate about before, particularly because Planet Waves happens to be a part of the history of Intuitive Public Radio and a part of how our groups have been navigating and understanding these circumstances different ways for different people, but it's been an ongoing set of conversations. And what we have at Radio Stream 0 for another day or two, at least, I'm gonna get this video up today, this morning. I'm pretty sure that I can. We're gonna find out. It's gonna be very exciting. And then you have a few more days where maybe until Friday night, maybe until the evening of the 29th, maybe until, I don't know, Saturday morning, we might update it. So what is there currently today, the 28th of April, 2022, is the 7th of April Planet Waves FM on the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, which is so very active right now. Discussions of journalism as a spiritual path, discussions of intersections around the hashtag #MeToo movement, which I don't really feel comfortable referring to in the singular. It seems to have been a lot of different movements, and some of them were co-opted in ways that caused and is still causing violence. So we've been really grateful for the different elements coming together about those conversations. There is several different StarCast releases that are also Eric's work that we included in the Radio Stream Zero. And there's also the 15th of April, Planet Waves FM, which includes an interview with Emily Trinkaus from Embodied Aquarian Age, which is really important. More of this journalism as a spiritual path, which brings me to a note that I wanted to follow up on. And that's one of the reasons I'm here. The sun is so bright and so warm, and seems to be asking for my attention. Where is the sun right now? Shining on me. It's a good feeling. Journalism as a spiritual discipline. Communications as a spiritual discipline. What is our healing process? What is our transformative recovery process? How do we ensure that all of us can connect effectively with what is inherently our most emergent, honorable, vocational connectivity? How do all of us come to be in a place where we are doing the work that is most right for us to be doing, according to our own selves, according to our bodies who know exactly how to heal what needs to be healed, but have been so turned around and misdirected and misinformed and manipulated, prevented, restricted. We are all learning how to access health and vitality and happiness together. And as we're doing that, we have to first ensure that there are processes of accurate, consistent, honorable communications so that we would have a basis of knowing one another without interlopers messing with our various connotations of what is actually happening. Communications and journalism go together. And in this day and age, probably not only this day and age, we must root and really stabilize what is the spiritual discipline of how we communicate with one another. And at its basis, journalism is communicating with the self, communicating with the other, communicating in the collective. That's physiology. That's the greater living body that we are all part of. And when we recognize that, we have greatly increased resilience and vitality and awareness of what's really happening around us, which gets cut off in all of these different ways. And then we don't understand one another and we don't know what is happening. That's trafficking co-optation that prevents effective communication. So we restore that first, always. And journalism as a spiritual discipline, which Eric has been discussing extensively in his materials, ongoing, even in the ensuing episodes that are not in Radio Stream Zero that we hope to update Saturday morning. I think I'm going to try to do, I can't remember what the date was it the 21st? I think there was a Planet Waves FM released on the 21st that was excellent and important about the research chronologies that Chiron Return has been compiling and sharing. All of this is about, can we communicate when the most serious things occur? Can we communicate about what we need to communicate about? Will someone hear you? Will someone heed you? Will your collective give you their attention, if that attention is really needed, how do we understand one another? How do we know how to respect one another? How do we know that people we care about aren't dying in the next room or being picked up by traffickers? Communications. Real journalism, honorable journalism, spiritually grounded, ethically resonant journalism. I don't even like the word ethics. I feel like the word ethics has been drastically co-opted. And I don't really know what to do with that, because the ethics, it's an important touch point. How do we behave ethically? What does the word ethics even mean in the sorts of situations that we're navigating? But we must co-create and evolve that together. If it's been destroyed, then our means of communicating depends on our ability to stabilize languaging with one another when everyone has a different kind of languaging because of the unique situations caused by the influences that are isolating people from one another and preventing effective communication, preventing effective journalism. So the investigative reporting, combined with astrology, combined with awareness of the essence of self-determination and personal soul development, spirit connectivity. There are a lot of crucial narratives that are part of Planet Wave's work that we have needed to build our neurological access to in a situation where we are communicating with content creators. And so that's what we're building with Planet Waves. And that's one of the reasons that it's been so important to include more of Planet Wave's materials in our radio streams. We are talking about this pretty continuously. A lot of the videos that I've been releasing my own self have been about these conversations. So if you want to know more of the context around this, all of this is up on Radio Stream 0 right now. And there, at the bottom of that Google document schedule that you can navigate to eventually by going to intuitive.pub/radiostreams, plural. You can go to the bottom once you find that Google document, and there is an archive link so that you can click to view the archive. And that will have all of the, we're doing it. I'm so glad to be at this part of the process. We have all of these links every time we update the radio streams. Well, no, every time we update Radio Stream 0, because Radio Stream 1 is still in process. It's not quite working this way yet. But 0 does have all of the links each time. I'm doing it. We're compiling it. We're managing it. There are amazing people involved in this process whose names I cannot say and whose faces you do not see, but they are here. And the work they're doing really matters. And it's amazing to be part of it and experience it happening. You also can be involved directly in this if you would like to be. Message me on Telegram Messenger, Max Morris on Telegram Messenger, and max@intuitive.pub. Do you think I'm saying the word Max clearly enough? It's not Mac on those URLs, it's Max. But we are using the name Mac a lot these days, and I hope that doesn't scramble anybody else. It's resolving some of my scrambles to engage in medicinal naming, which is a pretty important project for a lot of people, including me. What else do we have here? We have some lovely releases from Lydia Joy. A Joy to Be Me is her podcast, and she is in our Northeast region. We've been organizing around, she's not with us in Pittsburgh, but we've been organizing around Pennsylvania groups to a great extent, and many of Lydia's releases have been really helpful touch points for our groups. She has an episode discussing medical gaslighting that is in the 1717 p.m. block. Does that make sense to anybody? Well, it's written on the page. I'm experimenting with how do I say the things that are happening with the radio, and are they understandable? Do they make enough sense so that somebody understands them? Good question. We're finding out as we go. I highly recommend Lydia's work. I don't, let's see, I have it here. lydiajoy.mykajabi.com, MYKAJABI. Anyway, the links are there. This is very recent. We didn't used to be able to refer to the links, but now we can. So a lot of my neurological repair is about what can I read most clearly on the radio so that I can succinctly refer to something that you can then find on the internet. So that the live radio broadcasting or the incremental broadcasting gives you reference points that you can easily find more information about. And that is a lot of the infrastructure that we've been building for Intuitive Public Radio when we ask for support to build this better, to build this more stabilized than it has ever been before. We are building something that, as far as we can tell, has never existed. We don't know anyone else who has done this the way that we're doing this. And to connect the expertise and the crucial lived experiences of survivors groups who otherwise are never heard from and never known by their communities, and to have all of this together here and be preserving our knowledge bases. That's amazing. You are invited to participate. This is our deep network recovery strategy. We are deep network recovery strategists because we've had to be, because there are levels of complexity that we and our communities have been forced to counter, where you have something simple and then there's some influence that doubles you up on yourself and then doubles you up on yourself and creates, Alan Watts talks about anxiety being like one person feels whole and has experiences, but then there are these influences that put you into reflection loops that mean now you're in conflict with yourself, and so you're doubled up, and then you're doubled up again, and then you're doubled up again. And we have all of these additional layers of artificial complexity that are being imposed on our environments where it is presented to have a particular benefit, but we don't realize how complex it gets until we're deep in the complex, and we have to facilitate a kind of collective recovery together that has been made to seem completely impossible. And many people feel and believe it to be completely impossible. And then many of us have had to use every possible skill, have had to build every possible neurological access point in order to believe that the impossible could possibly be possible. And here we're about to do it. And we've been documenting over these years how we've been doing it. And that for us is journalism as a spiritual discipline, when we are being killed on a moment-to-moment basis, on a daily basis, when we are having to steady ourselves amidst the terrible, invisible violence, unspeakable violence, apparently, because when we broach it, people don't want to talk about it, even when it's occurring right in their midst. We are reporting from these intersections, and we've been striving to communicate more and more effectively over all of this time, because communication between individuals and the collective and with... I think that video froze specifically to allow me to open the window because it was getting very warm in all of this holy resonant sunshine. Communication between individuals and the collective and within the collective are crucially important aspects of how we do anything else, how we can be what our living beingness most knows itself to be, because communications, verbal and nonverbal, direct and ambient, are more naturally flowing, are more naturally occurring. We can only restore those kind of ambient and direct environmental communications by prioritizing survivors' deep network recovery strategies. And by prioritizing this conversation about journalism as spiritual discipline, this conversation about effective communications as spiritual discipline. Do nutrients flow to where they naturally best flow? Do toxins detoxify easily out of systems? This is communications. Can the body move building blocks to where it needs them to be? Can I tell you how your choices happen to be affecting me? Can I listen to you most respectfully? Can I treat with you most honorably? This is communications. And collective communications and journalism have a resonance that we cannot ignore when so many of those components are being subjected to co-optation intentionally for violence. And we don't have to let them do that, but we do have to know how they're doing it. And we have to know what we would replace it with, what should happen instead. Part of the violence that has occurred is in stopping us from visioning and feeling in our bodies with resonant, wholly awake experiences. What is the future we are physically manifesting with our minds collaborating? What are we all becoming as we communicate? And if we remove the communications co-optations from our environments and we replace them with awareness of what are most respectful, most effective communications between honorable living beings who wish to share abundance in a naturally regenerative ecology, in diverse ecologies where there is space for such a wide variety of living beings we could not even scratch the surface trying to name them. There are so many. The only way to do that is to understand the nature of communications as spiritual discipline and the nature of journalism as spiritual discipline. When we witness what happens in public media, when the money is coming from trafficking organizations. Blessings to deep network recovery strategists.